Good afternoon. Welcome back to another edition of the B&H Virtual Event Space. You are tuned in to How to Get Great Sound from Home, featuring Shure MOTIV USB microphones, of course, hosted by Shure. And we can't do that without our friends Laura and Russ from Shure. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going? Now, I'm guessing you guys are streaming with some USB microphones right now.
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
You know
Okay,
it.
because
Indeed we
I am
are.
not. I'm XLR kind of guy, but we're gonna dive into the world of USB microphones. And for those of you out there who don't know what we're talking about, well, that's why we're here. We're gonna break it down for you. And really, the goal of this, to get beyond all the technical lingo, is you want to sound good. If you're at home, you're working, you're streaming, you're starting a YouTube or a podcast, anything, you want to sound good. USB microphones are easy, they're affordable. Shure knows a thing or two about them, and they do it very well. So we're going to take all your questions, no matter where you're joining us from. If you're right here at Zoom, we have the wonderful Q&A module. And if you're across the expanses of the interwebs, we will get to you in the comment section there. So feel free to get those in, but I'm going to turn it over to Laura and Russ. Let's talk USB mics.
Yeah, we're here to talk about our MOTIV line, which is our USB microphone line. And the first one that we want to talk about is the MV5c, which is this guy right here. Hopefully you can see it. This is designed as your home office microphone. It's a cardioid condenser microphone, but without getting too technical, basically what it means is it's designed to pick up sound from the front of it and reject all of your room noise and outside noise and all of that stuff. So who's this microphone for? Well, it's for anybody that is looking for improved sound on Zoom calls. So, we all got used in the pandemic. We all got used to doing Zoom calls with our family members. So this is a great improvement for that. If you're working from home, we've got very much improved sound quality versus the microphone that's built into your computer. It's plug and play, so you just plug it right in, and the computer's going to automatically recognize that this is going to be your input. So super easy to use and sounds great. So I'm actually going to plug it in so we can hear it, and we'll do an A/B comparison between this microphone and the mic that's built into the computer. So yeah, just give me 1 second for that.
Yeah, so that's the thing. And just kind of to preface this a little bit, if you are doing this at home with us and you've got a set of headphones that you can grab, go ahead and grab them so that you can really hear the differences as Russ is going through, because we want you to hear the difference between the microphone and the internal microphone of his MacBook Pro, which he's using, to really give you the difference as to why it's so important to take the time to get great sound in all of your Zoom calls, content creation, podcasting, live streaming. That's what all of these mics are really geared towards. So he's going to be swapping in real time, and it's not something that we recommend doing at home, because normally you're going to buy one USB mic and stick with that. So, as he's swapping it, it's not going to be as glamorous as it should be, but we appreciate you hanging with us while Russ changes up his sounds.
Right, and just so you can see right now, this is my computer's microphone that you're hearing, and yeah, this is not the Shure microphone, just to be clear. And this is actually we kind of lucked out with the timing of this, because this is like the best timing, because I'm actually in the middle of a room redesign. So the only thing in my room right now is my desk and the carpet on the floor and a couple of guitars behind me and plants. Yes. So yeah, so a lot of us are not in treated rooms, so using microphones like this can really make a huge difference. So
let's swap it over.
No, this is the MV5c.
So much better.
So much better, right? So I have this set right in front of me on my desk. It's maybe 1.5 feet away or so, right in front. If you want to, if you're more comfortable and you want to put it off to the side, I'm moving it off to my left now. So it's, a lot of that room noise disappears. The clarity is just amazing. And all I had to do was plug it in. That's it. Yeah. It was super easy. There's a mode button on the back, which may be hard to see, especially with this plugged in, but it's basically just a speech mode. So what that's going to do is it's going to automatically have an EQ setting and a compression setting to optimize your voice for your calls. So it's not going to do anything drastic, but it does does help a lot, as you can hear.
Yes, it absolutely does. And what I love about the MV5c as opposed to the MV5, which is the other iteration of this microphone, but more geared towards musicians and content creators, is that the MV5c is plug and play. So it's automatically going to show up as your microphone input, and it has a defeatable headphone jack on the back. So what do I mean by that? Basically, if you like to talk into your microphone and hear the sound coming back from your Zoom calls or whatever calls you're using through your internal speakers, you can do that with the MV5c. If you want to monitor yourself and the call in headphones, you can enable the headphone jack on the back of the microphone and hear both, which is a nice feature because, you know, sometimes you don't want to listen to speakers all day. You want to hear those headphones. You want to hear yourself mixed with that. So that's kind of the benefit there.
Right. So, yeah, thanks, Laura. That's the MV5c. And I'm going to keep talking into this one while I show you the next microphone, and then we'll swap it out.
Yes.
So the next microphone is the MV51. So much like the MV5, this is also a condenser microphone. This is geared a little bit more toward the musician, but also podcasters can use it. Reason being, it has a few more modes than the MV5 as well. So it's got a music mode, it's got a singing mode, a flat mode, acoustic mode, and basically what it does is the speech mode is going to give you kind of narrower width on the microphone. So again, cutting out a lot of that, that room noise and stuff like that. The singing mode is going to give you a little bit of a subtle EQ, little bit of a wider pickup area. It just makes it a little bit more pleasant for singing applications. And while we're talking about singing, this has it's got a little kickstand, so you can just keep it on your desk, or there's this little rubber stopper on the bottom that unscrews here, and we can put this right on a microphone stand, so you can have it right in front of you while you're singing. On the microphone itself, you've got a touch panel. So what you can do here, you have a mute switch. You can select your modes by touch of a button here. You've got your headphone volume, and this could be your headphone volume or your mic gain as well.
Give me a close up on that, Russ, so we can see it.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. See? She's so
Is that
cute.
better?
Yes.
I don't have myself on the screen to look at, so
I know. No, that's perfect. Yes. And it comes from our retro designs too. So if it looks a little vintage, that's why. And it's also built like a tank. I mean, it's all metal construction, and it's legit heavy.
It is. There's
in all the right ways.
There's some serious weight to this. And if you want to see the back of it, you'll see it's got the USB port as well as a headphone jack on here as well. Right? So let's what does it sound like? Let's plug it in.
Let's hear what it sounds like. Yeah. And so Russ mentioned too that this microphone is really great for musicians, but it has those 5 presets so that you can kind of cycle through and find the right sound that's going to fit your application. Something to bear in mind, it's a large diaphragm condenser mic, so a little bit different from the MV7 that I'm speaking into right now, which is a dynamic microphone that naturally kind of blocks out the sounds coming in from the rear and the sides. A large diaphragm condenser is going to pick up a little bit more of the nuances in the room, but the benefit is that it's going to capture more of the details and nuances of the sound. So if you're recording an instrument or you're recording a voice, it's going to be that much more detailed when it's capturing the sound.
Right. And that's exactly what you want. And this is the MV51 that you're hearing me on. So I have this set right now just to regular speech mode. I can switch the modes, although I'm not, playing an instrument right now or listening to loud music or anything, so you might not hear much of a difference. But so there's a speech mode, you have music mode, there's acoustic mode, and they're different EQ and compression settings that will basically enhance what it is that you're putting into the microphone, whatever your sound source is. The other really cool thing that about this microphone is there's a loud mode on this. So this would be really cool if, let's say, you're in a band and you're at rehearsal, you just want to record everything that's going on. It basically lowers the gain and EQs a lot of that low end out, a lot of the lower frequencies. Like if you ever do a recording with your phone at a concert or something, and you just hear, the bass and the rumble is above everything else. This EQ kind of takes care of that for you. So it's a really, really awesome setting, and it's a cool thing to have on there.
Yes.
All definitely. Right. So yeah, this is MV51. So next one that we're going to talk about, is there anything else anybody had to say about MV51 before we move on?
No, just it has a headphone jack on the back too, which is just a
Headphone jack
nice
in the back.
feature. So you can monitor it in real time. And it'll go on a boom arm, it'll go on a stand, or it'll sit on the table, like Russ said, with that little kickstand.
Right. So next mic we're going to talk about is MV7, which I've got right over here. This is our dynamic microphone. So in comparison to the MV51 and the MV5 that were condensers, there you go. This one is it's designed for you to be a little bit closer, but it uses voice isolation technology, which will basically eliminate your room noise or outdoor noise, traffic going by and stuff like that. So this I think is where we're really going to hear the difference when we do the A/B test because of the room that I'm in. So let me go ahead and switch those out. And hang on one second.
Yeah, so while Russ is doing that, just some quick features of the MV7. It is a dynamic microphone, as he said, and it's a USB XLR hybrid. So if you can see that there, I'm running USB into my computer right now, and it can go XLR into your DAW if you want. So if you already have an interface that you're using and that you love, then you can get the MV7 or the MV7X and go directly that way. But it has some benefits under the hood that Russ is going to talk about when you use it via USB.
Yes, absolutely. So you can hear me. This is the MV7 now. Tighten this up a bit. So yeah, as Laura mentioned, so it is a hybrid. So it has USB and it has XLR on the back of it, and they can be used at the same time. So where does that come into play? So a lot of gamers and streamers like to use multiple computers. So let's say, you're a gamer and you've got your USB going into your, laptop for Discord so you can have your conversations and everything like that. Then you've got your XLR going into, your audio interface that's going into a different computer, and that's where your actual gaming is happening, and you're getting the best of both worlds there. So it's a really cool feature to be able to use. Just to throw it out there, we do have another version of the MV7. There's the MV7X, which is basically same thing as the MV7, just XLR, no USB. So straight into an audio interface, and there you go. All right, so real quick, I'm going to show you guys the app, but before we do that, let's do a quick A/B test between the computer microphone and the MV7.
This one's going to be jarring.
Oh yeah. So this is the computer microphone. Again, computer is maybe 1.5 to 2 feet away from me, off to my left a little bit. So if I turn toward it, and I'm talking straight to the computer. So again, you can hear the room, you can hear everything going on, and
I can hear outside too. I can hear like cars.
Yeah, you can hear outside. Yeah, I'm pretty close to some traffic, and they usually like to mow the lawn around this time of day. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on. So yeah, so let's switch back to the MV7, and
the
let's see
benefit when you use the MV7, or any of these microphones, it's not just for your benefit. It's for the person on the other end of the call, because if you listen to that, the reverberant frequencies in Russ's room get really fatiguing after a while if you're listening to it. So it's also a public service announcement. Get a mic so that you're making other people's lives better too, not just yours.
And it's common because most people aren't lucky enough to have a treated room or a professional recording studio. We're working from home. We're doing podcasts from home. We're recording our music at home, and this is just it's a huge improvement that's just so easy to get.
Yes.
So with that in mind, here, I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to show you guys the MOTIV app, which is really awesome. That's kind of where the magic gets unlocked for these microphones. So let's, you should be able to see that now, right?
Yeah, totally.
So this is the MOTIV app. So the app will automatically see which microphone you have plugged in. So the next microphone you'll see also, we're going to show you the app there too, but you'll see right now it's MV7. When I plug the other one in, it's going to switch. So the beauty of this is that this app can be as easy or as advanced as you want it to be. So the simplest thing about this is, let's say, I'm doing my podcast and I just enjoy sitting right up on top of the microphone. I'm not going to move too much. I literally just select the near button, and the EQ, the compression, everything is automatically set. In addition to that, We've also got tones here. So I like to think of these as kind of different colors to your sound, right? So right now I'm on natural, which is relatively flat. It doesn't really have too much of a boost in any, frequency or frequencies, and it's just pretty natural sounding. If I go to dark, all of a sudden you're going to notice that I've got a lot more boom on the bottom of my voice. There's more bass. It's got that kind of boomy, broadcasty tone that a lot of people like. So this is an option for you. We'll go back to natural. So again, pretty flat. And now if we go to the other side of the spectrum, we can go bright. And now you've got a little bit more shimmer, a little bit more crispiness, I like to call it, in my voice. So depending on your voice, one may sound better than another. But for me personally, I enjoy the natural. So now let's say I'm doing my podcast and I'm not going to sit and not move too much. What if I want to sit back in my chair and rock around a little bit. So you can see if I lean back in my chair, I'm not talking any louder. The mic is still picking me up, but it kind of sounds a little bit distant. Maybe you're getting a little bit more of that room noise in there. So that's where the far setting comes in. So if I switch this to far, now all of a sudden my gain is adjusted and I sound great again. So and again, you can do your tones can change. Here's the dark again. Here's bright, natural. So now let's say you are a little bit more advanced. I'm going to switch this back to near really quick. So let's say you're more advanced with audio and you want to kind of get under the hood a little bit here. So we can switch to manual mode. All right, so here we can mute the mic. You can control your microphone gain here. You can control your monitor mix. And what monitor mix is, basically, think about it like it's your voice in relation to whatever else is happening on your podcast. So if you're a podcast and you have other people on with you, it's their voices in relation to yours, how you're hearing it. If you're a gamer, it's your voice in relation to your Discord or your actual game sound that's coming in, all the effects and music and stuff like that. So you can actually just control that using this slider right here.
Can you bump up your gain a little bit? I want to hear you better.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll
No,
turn
just
up
a
my
little bit.
gain.
There we go. Perfect.
We good? That better?
Which is what's great about manual mode, is that you can
Right.
you can adjust it on the fly. Yes, that's better.
Yeah, there we go. So you've also got some EQ presets here. So right now we're on flat. So what goes in is what comes out. Here we've got a high pass filter or low cut filter. What this is going to do is cut out a lot of the low frequencies that could hinder your recording. They're not the bass frequencies from your voice. You really shouldn't notice any real difference if I go back to flat versus going back over here. It's not really the bass frequencies that are found in the human voice. It's more the bass frequencies that are found in a truck rumbling by your house while you're recording, or HVAC system, something like that. So with this engaged, it's going to help you to cut out even more of that background noise. All right. Then if we move over here, we've got a presence boost. This is going to give you a little bit of a boost in the mid-high frequencies, give you a little bit more shimmer on your voice. And then if we go over here, it's that same presence boost with the high pass filter. So you're going to cut out the bass of, the trucks rumbling, going by, your HVAC and stuff like that, with a little bit of the presence. You've got a limiter here, which basically is if you start yelling and screaming, the microphone says, "Whoa, that's really loud. Let's bring it back down to an acceptable level." So that's pretty much what the limiter is doing. And then a compressor
that's really great
is
for really dynamic speakers. We've all got
Yes.
those, or your guests on your
Yes.
podcast when they're a little unpredictable.
Right. And a compressor is sort of similar but less aggressive. So if you start whispering or you're speaking a little bit lower, it'll kind of boost you back up a little bit. And if you start speaking louder, it'll bring you back down. It kind of smooths everything out a little bit in your dynamics there. So that's something that can just be played with. Here you've got your live meters, so you can actually see on the microphone what's going on. And night mode, you can if you want the lights on the mic turned off. So this is a little bit of a look at the Shure MOTIV app, and it works the same way. based on the microphone that you have plugged in. So we're going to switch over to the MV88 Plus next, and you're going to see the same app, but you'll see some different functions there.
Yeah. And when Russ is shifting over there, you'll notice. So with the desktop app, you can only control the MV88 Plus and the MV7 with the desktop app, but it will process audio from any of our additional microphones. But just so you know, if you want additional control, those two mics are going to give you that additional optional settings that you can mess with. And so Russ was using it in auto and manual, and just with the near and far modes. If you think about it, if you don't want your camera in the shot, the far mode is a really great option for that. You can put it on a boom arm. A lot of people ask us, how do I get my microphone off camera without having to use, something else, or a shotgun mic or a lav mic. So yeah, put it into far mode, or if you're a hand talker like I am, it's really helpful so that you don't whack the mic while you're talking. So just something else to keep in mind.
Right. Before I'm still on the MV7, by the way. Before we go to the MV88, I just want to show it to you guys. So this is actually really cool. So this is the microphone itself. So this is a stereo microphone. It's a mid-side mic. So what that means basically is you've got two capsules inside. One is cardioid that's picking up just the front, kind of like the other microphones that we're looking at. And then the other one is a bidirectional, which is only picking up the left side and the right side, and not the front. And that's got a bunch of, that's a really nice thing for certain applications that we're going to get into in a minute. But it also comes, if you get the video kit, you've got this really nice desktop tripod stand, a phone holder, because this is compatible with phones. And there's actually a shoe mount on top here. So I'm going to pop the microphone back on, and I'll show you what it looks like with the phone in it. Here we go. And you would just have, so let's say I'm gonna walk around and shoot my family vacation, or I'm walking around the park, I want to pick up ambience. The tripod closes down, and it's kind of a gimbal now. So you'll just have one small cable coming out of the phone going into the back of the mic. Right, oop, I didn't tighten that down enough. There you go. And right now I'm going to use the desktop app, which looks just like the mobile app, but just for simplicity and demo purposes. So now I'm going to switch over to the MV88.
Yeah, great. So with the MV88 Plus, it comes with this whole kit that Russ just mentioned. It also comes with a USB-C and a Lightning cable, so you can connect it to Android devices, Lightning devices, and also directly to your computer, which is how Russ is going to connect it now, which makes it super handy for calls, for live streaming, for podcasting. It is RF immune as well if you're using it on your phone, so you won't have any of that interference or noise if you are live streaming. And it's just a great little kit. It all breaks down to in a little neoprene sleeve that you can roll it all up into and take it with you on the go. So use it at home on the desktop or bring it with you. It's a great solution for people looking for kind of a Swiss Army knife type microphone.
Yeah, and this is definitely a Swiss Army knife microphone. So you're hearing it right now. And let me share my screen really quick. I'm going to show you guys how this works within the app, because this microphone takes advantage of the app a lot. So let's share here.
Yeah, having this kind of control is kind of unheard of with a microphone. It's almost like having 4 mics in one.
Right. So you can see here up at the top, it used to say MV7 when I had that one plugged in. Now it sees the MV88 Plus, because that's what I've got going here. So you're going to see a lot of the same features. So you have your mic gain, your monitor mix, compression, high pass filter, but you've got some other stuff here that we didn't see before. So again, stereo microphone, and it does have a bunch of different pickup patterns. So this is my regular stereo mic setup, right? So you can do 60 degrees, which is going to be pretty narrow, all the way up. You can literally just drag and see how wide this is going to pick up. You go all the way up to 135 degrees. So you're probably hearing a little bit more of that ambience from my room kind of popping in there now. I'm going to turn off the limiter. If it's just me talking, I'm probably going to want to have this set, as narrow as possible. If I want to move around, then, I'll make it a little bit wider. If you're doing interviews out in the field, something like this would be really good. You've got your compression, high pass filter that we had before. You can actually swap your left and right channels. Now you have an EQ. So what we can do here, and I'm going to be very drastic about this deliberately, just so you can see what this thing can do. So if we cut down all of the lows and all
Do
of the
not try this
highs,
at home. Russ is a qualified professional.
it's yeah, don't worry, guys. I know what I'm doing. So
Clearly.
so yeah, and here's more bass. So you'll find where what's most pleasing to you. So going back up here. So that's our regular stereo mode. Going back, we have mono-directional. So now I know I don't sound good right
We can't
now
hear you at all, really, because yeah.
right. That is because that center microphone capsule is not active right now. It's only that bi-directional one. So what you'll see is as soon as I start turning the microphone this way, now all of a sudden, man, I'll take this off. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it on the screen, but yeah, now you can hear me. And as I kind of rotated, I'm going away here and then I start coming back. So what's this good for? Let's say I'm going to do an interview and I'm sitting across the table from somebody. I can interview two people with one microphone because I'm going to talk this way. The other person's going to talk this way. And we're still cutting out a lot of that room noise over here. So really, really cool feature there. And this is our monocardioid. So this is where I'm going to set up if it's just me speaking or doing an interview, something like that. This is the raw mid side. So this is both capsules activated. And what's going to happen is this is going to create a stereo file where that cardioid microphone is, or the cardioid capsule, I'm sorry, is on one side. The mid side is on the other. So if you're getting a little bit more in depth with your recording and you get this into your DAW, you can then separate those and edit them separately. And it's a very, very cool feature there. All right, so here we'll go back to our regular stereo, monocardioid. And just like the other microphones, we've got our speech mode, we've got our music mode, and again, we can adjust the stereo width. This is our flat mode, which is, again, what goes in is what comes out. And then for acoustic instruments, and then we've got a loud mode again. So again, recording, clubs, concerts, you're in a band, you want to record your rehearsals, stuff like that. It can handle the excessive volume that you're going to be throwing at it.
Right. And I love that one because it doesn't necessarily put a limiter on your sound. I think a lot of people think if I put it into band mode or loud mode that it's going to squash it. And it doesn't. It still gives it wiggle room and breathing room. So it's just adjusting that gain and the EQ, as Russ mentioned, to cut out some of that lower end boom that would tend to overpower a traditional microphone if you were to use just the built-in mic on your phone. So it's a really cool tool if you're in rehearsals or if you want to capture a concert. So just something to keep in mind with that Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the MV88 Plus. And yeah, that's what I've got for you. And these are all available. They're all on, I believe they're on promo for holidays. Yep. We've got a great holiday promo going on right now. I'm actually going to switch back to my MV7 here.
Yeah, exactly.
So it can be a little bit clearer.
If you have questions, we want to answer them. So maybe we can bring Derek back on and see if he's got anything for us to share.
Of course. Well, the first question leading out, and thank you guys for the wonderful presentation, and also diving into being able to do everything through the app, because we've talked about it before and I've seen it and heard about it, but getting the live demonstration is so much different. And Russ, I think if you just went with your laptop mic, we wouldn't have invited you back. So we would have left you out in the cold.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No, it is. I mean, once you hear good audio, you can't go back to bad audio. Yeah. But I want to start with just the basic overarching question: XLR versus USB. What's the main benefit for most people, or for most people who aren't really involved in the audio industry? If there's people who are just getting in and they don't know one from the other, what's the main difference?
I think the main difference is going to be, these days, it's going to be the ease of use. It's USB straight into the computer, and that's it. You don't have to worry about audio interfaces and setting up a whole studio and sound cards and all of this stuff. It's just the easiest way to go. Mm-hmm. It used to be that USB microphones have come a long way over the years. It used to be that USB microphones didn't sound all that great, so there was a benefit of getting, setting up a studio with a full-blown audio interface and XLR microphones and all that stuff. But they've come so far that they're really, you're not, I mean, this sounds great.
Yeah.
There isn't really going to be a huge difference there.
Yeah, and being able to tweak, I think, is a huge thing because I guess it's like anything else in any creative industry. When you go to, let's use the word very loosely, professional products, they don't always have that ease of use where you can just tweak something here and there.
Right.
For a lot of professional audio products, it's like, okay, well, they have rooms that are engineered for, so you'll have an XLR mic and it's the best mic for what you're doing, but that gets the best sound for what you're doing, but they have rooms that are specifically built out and engineered for that mic. And for most of us who might be streaming from an apartment in New York, which is very loud, or just you don't really realize, like you were talking about earlier, Russ, with if you have a hardwood floor and you don't have anything in the room to kind of deaden the sound, we can't all sit there in a coat closet and do a podcast from it. So I think that I can personally vouch for that, and really just having the mobility and the usability and the ease of tweaking my settings to get the sound that you want. That's a big appealing factor to me.
Right. And even, when we were looking at the app with the MV7, again, that app can be as easy or as advanced as you need it to be. So, it a lot of times this audio thing can be intimidating for people that haven't done it before or aren't used to it, and this app and USB mics in general, they just make everything so much easier just to get really good sound quickly and easily.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and that's why it's good to hear the difference.
Right.
Because when I wasn't joking, when sitting there listening to you with the laptop mic is like, man, if I had to listen to it for an hour, maybe if that's all I've ever heard, but once you show me the light, I don't want to go back to the laptop mic. It's not a pleasant experience.
It's not. It hurts.
Yeah, this is not.
That's not good.
This is not very pleasant.
No,
Not
not
very
great.
pleasant at all. No.
You don't realize how hard your brain is working to process that audio too. If you think about it, like your brain and your ears are trying to filter out the correct signal from all of that din and extraneous frequencies that are entering into the mix. So
yeah, it's one of those things. Even if you don't know audio terms, that it doesn't sound.
It doesn't feel good. It's not great.
It doesn't. Especially when when you contrast it. Laura, when you're talking, and it's like, okay, it's just I don't know. I don't know why it sounds better, but it sounds better. And it's
exactly.
I know
you may not be able to say might not be able to say why something doesn't sound good, but that it doesn't sound good.
Yes.
No, totally. So for most uses, I mean, this is something where you can get away and it sounds professional enough where if someone were going to start a podcast, and I think that's one of the great things too, is that you don't have to go out and drop $1,000 on a microphone to get professional or great sound, which is the good thing, because I can't tell you how many people, especially over the pandemic, people were like, oh, well, I want to start a podcast. I want to start vlogging. And they're like, well, they have this huge gear list. And it's like, no, literally to start a podcast,
just get this and a set of headphones.
That's it.
That's all you need. USB mic and a set of headphones, and you can plug the headphones right into the microphone. So it doesn't get any easier than that.
Well, that's another thing too. Yeah, it is that not having to have an audio interface is, especially for space. It's like, space is limited with everything we put in now. It's like, I was just looking at my desk the other day and it's like, yes, I love this mic, but if I could have something where I just plug it into a USB, and because we have our tablets, we have our external mouse pads and track pads and our lighting on our, we have everything else that we put in, that space is limited. It's easier to just plug and play.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah. It makes it super easy.
Totally. Well, you guys covered it pretty simply. It's always, look, it's one of two things. When sometimes when we don't get the questions rolling in, it's like everyone's either lost and they don't know what to ask, or it's super easy and you guys laid it out. And I think that's kind of the thing with USB mics, is there isn't much to know for most people. Most people just know, okay, it sounds good. I can just plug it in, and plug and play works for a lot of people. They don't ask too many questions. They don't need to, they just want to sound good. And I think that's the beauty,
Right.
like we keep saying, of the USB mic, is just plug it in and it's going to sound good when you plug it in. If you want to tweak it around, you can. I know there's a lot of people that
Right.
like to have fun with it. And to be honest, when you were messing around with it, Russ, I was like, okay, this one sounds good. And then you change it and be like, okay, but this one sounds good too, but in a different way. And it's almost like,
Right.
sometimes you feel like, sometimes you want that Slipknot, and sometimes you want some hip hop, and sometimes you want classical music. And it kind of
Yes.
depends on what sound you're going for, and
Right.
the different vibe, and everybody's voice is different. And I think the voice sets the tone for whatever you're presenting. We say all the time, whenever anybody has a slow voice like this and you talk like that, and then everyone's like NPR. And then
Yes.
certain people have like a sound of like, like a more of like a radio show, or like a favorite podcast. So I think that plays into it well. And I like having that range, because especially when you're doing a podcast or you're doing a live streaming show, you're talking to a variety of guests, and you kind
Right.
of have to be a chameleon. And I think that's one of the things that's great about the USB mics as well, and the customization, is you can kind of sculpt your sound based on the experience of whatever type of broadcast you're doing. And with certain mics, with XLR mics, it's kind of like, okay, you can still tweak. It takes a lot more to get different sound out of them. It's not as easy to get a different sound out of them, or a lot of mics people go for, we talk with people who work in the music industry, and it's like, that's what they'll go in and do mic tests. And it's like, okay, well,
Mhm.
not everybody has 20 mics available to go in and say, okay, well, I'm going to test out these 20 mics and go which one goes with my voice best.
Right.
Where I feel
But
like you can
if
kind
you
of get,
are local to B&H, though, there is a really
oh,
cool,
that room.
there's a
Yeah,
really cool room
you
to
can
try them
certainly
out.
test. Yeah.
Just saying, full of Shure mics,
Yes.
because that's important. That's actually a really good point, Derek, is that I say this a lot when I talk to people who are looking for a mic. You wouldn't, as an instrumentalist, go into a music store as a guitarist, for example, and just pick the guitar off the wall and be like, hey, yeah, that one looks good, and walk out. Like, you're going to play it. You're going to see how it feels, see how it resonates. The microphone's the same thing. If you are speaking, or you're singing, or you're using it to capture an instrument, you need to be able to try it and really see how it's going to land and resonate with whatever application you're doing. So any chance you get to play with the mics, you should definitely give that a go.
Totally. No, that's a great point. It's one of the reasons why we've been trying to incorporate more audio content on our channel, is because it's so important.
It
And with
is.
video, I mean, photography has become hybrid with video now. If you do stills, you have to, if you don't know video, you have to start kind of learning it, because the jobs are going to people who can do both. And as we all know,
Right.
with video, the most important part of video is audio.
Mhm.
It's
If
audio.
you don't have good
It is.
sound,
They're
then you
bouncing.
lose people
Yeah.
on the video.
Yep.
Exactly. So even just in the last couple of years that we've been doing this thing virtually, it's helped us as a team get to know audio better. And I used to walk in, when I first started at B&H, the mic room it's cool because you have all the mics there, but you don't know one from the other. And now it's like, okay, I know a little bit now. And it's like
He's
you said,
dangerous
Laura,
now.
Yeah,
I'm
try it
dangerous.
out.
Just enough
Yeah.
to know to be dangerous.
I know enough to be dangerous, and not the educated way. It's the dangerous where, like, let me make sure I don't think I know too much.
Yes.
We're constantly learning, but it's fun to get to know more about it, because as you start to sculpt your speaking and your voice, and you have the tools that really, like, there's mics that you just sound really good on.
Yeah.
And if anybody who's met me in person has heard it, they're like, wait, no, I've never heard in person, like, oh, you should do a podcast. You have a great voice for radio. You hear me with a nice mic, and it's like, oh wow, you have a
Yeah,
really
you
nice
got a nice
speaking
mic
voice.
there.
Great
Yeah.
radio voice, Derek.
There.
You should do a podcast. Yeah, exactly. Yes, we get that too.
Never heard that in the grocery store line,
No.
but
Oh,
which is
Do a
it's just
podcast?
it's testament. It's just a testament to, you want a great listening experience. So, and Danny's doing work over there. For those of you that
He
are
is.
in the comment section, he's dropping some holiday promotions. He's dropping some information on all the wonderful USB mics we have talked about today. But want to thank you guys again, the team at Shure, for hosting this event. As always, you're getting us ready for the holiday season with some easy plug and play, affordable options for people to sound great when they're speaking online. So want to thank you guys again. Any closing words for us?
I think just
Oh, you-
really check them out. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're pretty easy to find, but bnh.com, and we want to answer all of your questions for you.
Definitely. You guys know where to find us. All of our video content is archived online. So if you guys do not know where to find it, you can go right on vimeo.com/BH Event Space. Or if you're a Facebook user, go on facebook.com/BH Event Space. And of course, check us out on Instagram at BH Event Space. I promise you, our content isn't that bad. So
It's
that being
great.
said,
Danny's crushing it.
there we
we
go.
have fun. We have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Gotta have fun. One day we're gonna bring the green room to life. So
Yes.
we'll stay tuned
Nice.
for that. We'll get a green room live session. But until then, we're just gonna keep sounding good, and Shure is gonna help us learn how to sound even better with their wonderful lines of products. But another rendition of the B&H virtual event space is in the books. We will catch y'all next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
guys.